How we doing, everybody? UFC Thoughts here, and today I'm going to be recapping UFC 319 Duplessis versus Chimaev. Wrapped up, of course, 2 days ago. Obviously, this recap is a little bit late, if you will. The event wrapped up on Saturday. I am recording this Monday. Obviously, I was away. Yeah, pretty solid event. Couple really cool finishes, especially on the main card. Really dominant performances as well, littered throughout. I went 7-5 on predictions, which is, it's pretty mid, honestly. At least I didn't go just 500. But the main event I got right. Speaking of which, let's get right into it. Dricus Duplessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. Yeah. I feel like a lot of people have given their take on what they thought about the fight. My take is probably not going to be much different than a lot of people. This is probably one of the most dominant performances in a title fight that we've seen in a very long time, even though visible damage wasn't applicable in this one. Obviously, Dricus did not look too beaten or battered at the end of the fight. You could literally argue 10-8 for round 1, round 2, and round 3. Round 4, I don't think so, and round 5, I don't think so. I actually don't even really mind maybe even arguing Dricus for round 5. I still edge it out to Khamzat. I thought Dricus in this round did maybe a bit more damage than Khamzat, but Khamzat did still have quite a bit of control in the full fight. He had about 22 minutes of control time. There's been a lot of discussion on how people feel about the fight. I am of the mind that it is one of the most dominant performances. Did I find it the most entertaining? Not necessarily, but I wasn't like, oh my fucking god. I was more shocked, if you will, rather than actually angry at the fight. Like a Batista versus Jose Aldo, where Batista is just holding Jose Aldo against the fence. That one angered me a little bit because Mario couldn't do anything with his with his clinch attempts. He wasn't really doing a whole lot with them. And people will say, well, Khamzat didn't do a lot with his takedowns now, did he? He put Dricus Duplessis in about 5 crucifix positions. He outstruck him 529 to 45 total strikes. He controlled him for 22 minutes. He had his back multiple times. He took him down, 13 times, 12 times out of 17 attempts. He made Dricus Duplessis look very mediocre as a fighter. He made him look very mediocre and nullified his ability to get up, made it so that he looked like a fish out of water entirely. And even in the striking, Khamzat didn't look that bad. He actually was outstriking Dricus in moments because Dricus at a certain point was so tired that he really couldn't land anything until round 4 and 5, I believe, is when he maybe landed something. I think the third round, the significant strike there is maybe him hitting Khamzat when he's running in for a takedown, right? I don't know if it was round 3 that he caught, that he threw the kick or whatever, but very dominant performance from Khamzat Chimaev. Like I said, I wasn't like, oh my god, this fight is fucking badass, dude. I wasn't. It didn't gain the reaction that a Joshua Van Brandon Royval fight would get out of me. Obviously, it didn't garner the reaction that Elvis Brenner versus Esteban Ribovic even got out of me. This fight, obviously, it was more of like, the scene in Wolf of Wall Street where Matthew McConaughey is like, holy shit, when like the stock market crashes or whatever. That's my reaction to this fight. It was genuinely appalling to me at how easily Khamzat made it look against arguably the best guy in the division when it comes to this type of thing. People will say what they want about who they think can beat Khamzat. I'm telling you straight up, nobody is ever going to beat this guy with the current standings of this division. I'm telling you this now, and I'm telling you it forever. These rankings, Nasruddin Imavov. You guys know how much I like Nasruddin. He was held down an entire round by Brendan Allen. That's all I really need to say. And was gassed after that round, may I add. Sean Strickland, he was taken down by DDP. He would get absolutely fucking manhandled by Khamzat Chimaev. And actually, Sean gassed out against DDP, mostly with striking. I only wonder what the grappling that Khamzat deployed on DDP would do to a guy like Sean Strickland, who also, his legs are so close together that a double leg is almost infinitely imminent in a fight like that. We're going to skip over Israel because he's on a 3-fight losing streak. Rene de Ridder is somewhat interesting because he's a very big guy, and he does have his jiu-jitsu. He got taken down by Bo Nickel. I know he reversed that position, but he was taken down by Bo Nickel. Bo Nickel is not as explosive as Khamzat Chimaev. And also Rene de Ridder on the feet isn't really that. Like, he's imposing, but I wonder, like, what would happen if Khamzat, took him down many times. You know what I mean? Kyle Bahalia, we literally just don't know until he fights Nasruddin, which I think he still loses. He went 48-47 with Jared Cannonier. Fluffy Hernandez, people are going to hype him up to the day. He beat Roman Dolidze, and he beat fucking... Where's Michelle? Michelle's not even ranked. His 2 best wins are Michel Pereira and Roman Dolidze. Fluffy Hernandez is maybe the slowest starter I think I've ever seen in my fucking life in middleweight history. He gets his ass whooped for the first 2 minutes every fucking fight. Dude, Khamzat would choke him the fuck out. I don't know if you know. The guy that DDP beat in his debut, that Lopez guy, I think his name is, the guy threw a spinning elbow and Dreykus knocked him out. He actually choked Anthony Hernandez out cold. Anthony Hernandez would get absolutely fucking mopped by Khamzat. I'm sorry to tell you this. He just would. It's just a fact. Brendan Allen had his back for about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. He hurt him on the feet. Anthony Hernandez, he's not all that he's cracked up to be right now. People are going to hype him up for the Roman Dolidze pick. And I know, I picked Roman Dolidze, so it kind of sounds like I'm coping a little bit. But he's taking Roman Dolidze and Michel Pereira to round 4 and 5 when they're both extremely gassed by round 2. So Khamzat showed great cardio in this fight. Shows that the training camp worked. He went 5 rounds with DDP, who arguably has in leading up into this fight, DDP arguably had the second best cardio in the division. Just because of his heart, right? Khamzat went 5 rounds with him and did this. That's all I need to say. He landed 13 significant strikes across 25 minutes. I know Khamzat landed only 37, but that's because he had 22 minutes of control time. We move. Great win for Khamzat Chimaev and New. We move to the co-main event, Lerone Murphy versus Aaron Pico. I picked Aaron Pico, obviously. Laugh it up. Laugh it up. You picked the Bellator guy. You picked the Bellator guy. I did pick the Bellator guy. And the entire fight was as I predicted, essentially, but I predicted that Aaron Pico would eventually hurt Lerone Murphy enough to finish him. Aaron was pushing Lerone Murphy back the entire fight. He was doing what Josh Emmett should have done. He was pressing him back, landing really big shots. Seemed like he knocked him off balance at one point with a shot. It might have been Lerone Murphy just, tripping over his own foot, to be honest, because it was kind of a weird exchange. Aaron Pico was digging to the body. Lerone Murphy, like I said in my picks and breakdown, does do really gnarly work on people that rush in. But I thought Aaron Pico would have been a bit more smarter about it, in my defense. In my defense, guys, I thought he'd been a bit smarter, even though tape shows that he's not a very smart guy, okay? That's my bad. With his step and elbows, obviously he landed a step and elbow, landed a step and knee as well on Aaron Pico, landed on the chest. Lerone Murphy also in the clinch was doing a really gnarly thing. It reminded me of Sean Strickland, if you remember the video where he's, clinch fighting with the one, really good jiu-jitsu guy where he, whips his arm around that's, supposed to, hurt your elbow. He was doing that a lot to Aaron Pico on the side that he had shoulder surgery on. I don't know if many people picked up on that or not. Lerone Murphy was being really gnarly in the clinch doing shit like that, and I picked it up. I was like, that's disgusting. But, yeah, Lerone Murphy, Aaron Pico cutting off the cage pretty well. Lerone Murphy throws a teep kick, makes Aaron Pico give up a little bit of space. Aaron Pico presses forward, but then moves to the wrong side. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know if any other people picked up on this. When Aaron Pico, was moving around, advancing, he literally moved to his left and then moved to his right when Lerone was moving to his right. I don't even know how to explain this because I don't have a face cam. Like, they're in, like, a point in the cage where it connects and it, like, angles out. Lerone is, like, circling to his right. He's facing Aaron. He's circling to his right. Aaron circles to his own right, which is, like, behind Lerone Murphy, essentially. And then Lerone Murphy just times a spinning elbow, and Aaron Pico essentially walks face first into it. Very weird choice of advancing from Aaron Pico to cut off the cage, like trying to move to the back, I guess, of Lerone Murphy. It was very weird to me that he would do that. Very brutal knockout for Lerone Murphy. He called out Volkanovski. By the way, great win for Lerone Murphy, weathered a very early storm from Aaron Pico. And this is a telltale Aaron Pico loss outside of his debut. Looks good until he gets bonked. You know what I mean? Like, that's literally mostly what all of his losses are, is just him looking really solid, and then he just randomly loses. So, yeah, really good win for Lerone Murphy. Finished Aaron Pico in his debut. He called out Volk. I don't mind it, honestly. If we're going to keep Volk active, which I would like to see Volk fight one more time this year in December, Lerone Murphy just punched his ticket to that fight. Movsar Evloev kind of lost it because he pulled out of the Aaron Pico fight. Lerone Murphy, being a businessman, stepped up, fought Aaron Pico, knocked him out in the first round. And if I'm Movsar Evloev, I'm absolutely fuming, by the way. I'm absolutely fucking fuming, by the way. People are going to bring up Diego Lopez versus John Silva. That happens next month. It's in about 4 weeks. No, 1 week, 2 week. Actually, yeah, that's 4 weeks away. Holy shit. I'm a genius when it comes to this stuff. Okay, guys? So, yeah. That fight's got a time. You can build up Lerone Murphy, Volkanovski. You obviously can do that. The winner of Diego Lopez, John Silva, if it's John Silva, he can fight the winner of Lerone Murphy, Volkanovski. It's as easy as that. You set up the next title challenger 4 weeks down from this fight card, but Lerone Murphy, undefeated as well. Like, not even only in the UFC. John Silva does have 2 losses on his career. Lerone Murphy is genuinely just an undefeated prospect. And he's also older, so I think that you do have to kind of give him a title shot against Volkanovski, just kind of in a way. So, yeah, great win for Lerone Murphy. Prove me wrong once more. I am probably the worst predictor when it comes to Lerone Murphy fights. I think I've only gotten 1 fight correct in my entire career on him. No, I picked him against Makwan Amirkhani. I don't know about any of my other fight predictions on him. I think I picked him against Gabriel Santos, too. I don't know. I'd have to go, because I've been predicting fights, not on YouTube, but I've been making fight predictions since 266. So, yeah, which is kind of wild to think about that I've been doing it for that long, which isn't even really that long in retrospect, but on YouTube I've been doing it since UFC Paris of 2023. Good win for Lerone Murphy. We move to the featured fight, Jeff Neal versus Carlos Prates. Loved every second of this fight, and it also was very heart-thumping because I'm a huge Prates fan, obviously. Carlos looked really good. Man, he was circling out very well. Jeff Neal was trying to cut off the cage every second that he could get, just pressuring Carlos, making him run around a little bit. Carlos's boxing looked improved. His defense looked pretty solid. He got slammed with a couple of good shots, but outside of that, he was landing pretty clinical shots on Jeff Neal the entire time, landing really good combinations. Very up in the round. He was swelling Jeff Neal's eye with his jab, I think it was his jab that was doing a lot. He would land a lot of right side hooks as well on Jeff Neal. He was like flicking dude, it looked beautiful. It was beautiful striking from Carlos Prates. I'll just say that. And then eventually, near the end of the round, Jeff Neal looks for a clinch, finally gets it. Carlos just kind of like angrily, like, you try to clinch, you're grappling me now, And then on the break, they're like, their foreheads are touching, and Carlos shoves him off. He kind of dances around at range. Jeff Neal, a little like, kind of looking like, let's just stay here and wait for round 2 to start. Carlos walks in with a step and elbow. It slightly lands, and then 2 seconds later, Carlos throws a spinning elbow and brutally knocks Jeff Neal unconscious. By the way, Aaron Pico, he was out for like 3 minutes. It was pretty bad. Jeff Neal, brutal finish for Carlos Prates. Landed on the temple. The sound it made, it sounded like a fucking baseball hitting a baseball bat. It sounded fucking disgusting, dude. And they replayed it like 5 times just to, make it seem better. Great win for Carlos Prates. Incredible win for him. Jeff Neal, rest up, bud. And this is a much-needed win for Carlos Prates. If you would go on a 2-loss skid, Who knows what would happen? Since he beats Jeff Neal, he's going to move up above him. He'll actually probably move up. Would they put him above Gilbert and Colby? They'll definitely put him against. They'll definitely move him up against Gilbert Burns. They'll definitely put him above Gilbert. Maybe Colby as well. Colby's last win was Masvidal, right? I'm not fucking tripping, right? Oh my god, yeah. Move him above Covington as well. Get this fucker out of the top 10, please. Jesus, he'll still be 10, but yeah, move him up to number 9. He called out Leon Edwards. I don't think he's going to get the Leon Edwards matchup. I think Leon Edwards is going to be fighting Michael Morales. I think you could do Carlos Prates versus Buckley. I think Buckley would be a really good matchup for him in that division. I think that would be a beautiful matchup for Carlos Prates, is Joaquin Buckley. Kind of just see what the fuck would happen. You know, main event of a fight night, Buckley versus Prates. Dude, who says no? Who fucking says no to that, guys? Come on, what are we doing? Carlos Prates, great win. We move to Jared Cannonier versus Michael Venom Page. Pretty solid. No, actually, it was a traditional Michael Venom Page fight. Mostly him styling on people for the first 2 rounds. And then round 3, you know, he got taken down. So he looked pretty human. They didn't credit him with a single knockdown, but he knocked down Jared Cannonier in round 1 and 2, which is what actually gave him the round. If he didn't knock down Jared in round 2, he actually might have lost this fight. But if my grandma had wheels, she'd be a fucking car. So that's a very stupid statement. Michael Venom Page, again, like I said, I could have very well seen this become a Michael Venom Page fight, but I thought Jared would be able to get to him a little bit sooner with his grappling, but obviously he didn't. And that's all attributed to Michael Venom Page's distance management, his overall point fight style, and just how awkward he is in general. Jared loses a 3-round decision, winning the 3rd, losing the first 2 rounds, but it is what it is. Michael Venom Page, he's going to be in the top 10 at middleweight, actually. So his next matchup, because he's going to move up to here. Dude, honestly, they might do... No, he wouldn't fight Mike. He wouldn't fight Izzy. Michael Venom Page versus Strickland? That'd be kind of cool, right? Him versus Strickland? Maybe? Because it would be a guy that's just walking forward at Michael Venom Page. Maybe Michael could knock him out, or Sean Strickland would overwhelm Michael Venom Page. Who knows? Who actually knows at that point? Great win for Michael Venom Page. Moves into the top 10 at middleweight. Again, I got another Michael Venom Page fight wrong. I have yet to pick him in his UFC stint. So I am 1-3 when it comes to Michael Venom Page predictions. We move to the start of the main card, Tim Elliott versus Kaya Sakura. This was just a shocker in general. Kaya Sakura, he won the first round. Kind of close, though. Kind of close. I thought he landed the best shots in the first round. Kaya Sakura, I don't know. His grappling is just still so bad. I don't know what it is. His grappling is genuinely not good at all. After round 1, he got taken down at the end of the round. He was so visibly frustrated after that takedown. Like, he was literally like, fuck, on his bed. He was literally like, god damn it. He was like grimacing immediately. So it's like, you obviously don't want to be down there. Going into round 2, after the takedown, his whole demeanor changed. He was not throwing as much. He was very much allowing, you know, Tim to do whatever the fuck he wanted. And then when Kaya Sakura finally was like, all right, let me go, I guess, he immediately gets taken down. And Tim Elliott just jumps on him, jumps on a rear naked. He doesn't get the rear naked. I think it was a rear naked, right? Or it was an arm triangle. I don't know. But eventually he gets him with a guillotine. When Kaya Sakura's fighting to get back up, he gets like a sprawl position, and Tim Elliott just jumps on a mounted guillotine. And Kaya Sakura is forced to tap. So this makes me, in turn, say this. If you guys remember, I made a video talking about what every current champion needs to do to become the GOAT. I made that about 7 months ago, I believe. Something like that. Something crazy like that. For Pantoja, I said he needs 3 more defenses. Make it 4. Make it 4. Actually, no, I said 4 in the video. Make it 4 more. Because this title defense over Kaya Sakura may go down as one of the worst in UFC history, honestly. If he's losing to Tim Elliott in the Big 25. I know Tim Elliott's pretty good. He didn't fight the entirety of 2024. And Tim Elliott fought for a title in 2016. He was one of DJ's title defenses, Tim Elliott was. You know what I mean? That was almost a decade ago. I think Pantoja now needs 4 more title defenses on top of the 4 that he already has to make it 8, just to account for the Kaya Sakura deficit. Maybe 8 as well, just to make up for Steve Erceg as well. Because Steve Erceg, I'm a huge fan of him. What the fuck is going on, dude? Tim Elliott, again, dismays a flyweight prospect. Who should Tim Elliott even fight, bro? Like, who do you even put him against? He's number 11, dude. Honestly, fuck it. Tim Elliott, Steve Erceg. Fuck it. Fuck it at this point, dude. Let's just see if Tim Elliott can beat all of Pantoja's title defenses. We move to the featured prelim, Baisenghor Susurkayev versus Eric Nolan. If you are coming from my picks and breakdown video, I didn't break down this fight, but I did make a point in the comments and on UFC Tracker to make sure that I was picking Baisenghor Susurkayev, all right? Baisenghor Susurkayev, if you don't know, he fought on Dana White's Contender Series last week, and he won by first round KO, and then he fought Eric Nolan. So, yeah. Eric Nolan, welterweight. He looked pretty good, honestly. He honestly won the first round because he actually hurt Baisenghor at the end of the round, wobbled him really bad. But Baisenghor also did land a lot of good stuff. He got a couple takedowns of his own. Round 2, it was pretty clinical for most of the round. Right at the start, Baisenghor started throwing a lot of low kicks, and one of them apparently shredded Eric Nolan's ACL. Apparently it blew out his knee. He grabbed it. When he went to grab it, Baisenghor immediately was like, oh, okay, and then took him down immediately. Or they didn't credit him with a takedown, but I swear he took him down. Or maybe he, like, I don't know, maybe he just, like, pulled guard or something. I don't know. I don't remember exactly what happened, but Baisenghor immediately takes him down, ends up on top mount. Gets his back, starts just kind of looking like Khamzat in a way on him, like early Khamzat, where he's like postured up like really high up and just raining down shots. He eventually finds a rear naked, forces Eric Nolan to tap. Really good win for Baisenghor Susurkayev. Eric Nolan, tough kid, tough guy. Pretty solid. Had a solid showing for his own for a welterweight moving up to middleweight on super short notice against an undefeated prospect in Baisenghor Susurkayev. Baisenghor, take some time off. You don't need to fight as much. All right, you're not gonna replicate what Khamzat did. Okay, buddy. Take some time off. Train. But yeah, I thought it was a solid win. I think people are jumping the gun on Baisenghor Susurkayev a little bit. Like they're like, oh, he's a fucking fraud. He's at that. Give him some time. He fought literally 4 days prior. Okay, give the guy a break. He's like 24 years old as well. I think he looks really good though. I think he looks pretty solid. Just slow it down. Keep giving him these kind of matches. Give him like a fucking Eric. Nah, not even an Eric Anders. Give him like a fucking Eric McConaughey, Cody Brundage type guy. Type beat. You know what I mean? Like, give him someone like that. Fucking Jamie Pickett. Sign him to a 1-fight contract. Get that boy back. Baisenghor, he looked good. We move to Gerald Meerschaert versus Michal Oleksiejczuk. This was literally an atom bomb versus a coughing baby. This was kind of sad to watch. Gerald genuinely looked lethargic. And he genuinely looked so unbelievably goddamn slow in this fight. You wouldn't even, think that he was a fighter. You would think that he was, a crowd member that they got from the fight, from the arena, who's just piss drunk. Michal, he just beat him up. He looked really sharp. You can see that the Fighting Nerds camp is treating him pretty well. Looked really sharp, looked really fast. The first thing he threw was a straight left that almost chinned Gerald immediately, but it didn't land. But it was you could tell there's some heat on there. Gerald shot some of the worst takedown attempts I think I've seen in my life. Stuffed all of them, did Michal, and then forced him back up. Dropped him eventually, hurt him with some shots, dropped him eventually, let him drop down. And then eventually, in the middle of the round, Michal drops him with a 3-punch combination. Gerald is oh, he's going to let me back up. And then Michal is fuck it, I'm going to jump on this dork. And then finish him with some nasty left hammer fist spamming ground and pound. Great win for Michal Oleksiejczuk. That's another needed win for him after going on the little skid that he did. 3 fight skid in a row. To be fair, Michel Bae, Kevin Holland, and Shara Magomedov. Cedric Dumas, Jaromir Shark, these are the matchups that Mikhail is going to win. Just because, he's actually decent. I don't know who you give Mikhail Oleksiejczuk to. I don't know who you give him to fight after a fight like this. I honestly don't mind a Mikhail Oleksiejczuk versus Bo Nickel, if I'm being honest with you. I don't mind a matchup like that because it would allow Bo Nickel to maybe gain some credibility back against not a surging, but a certified vet. And also a vet on a win streak in Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. You never know. Great win for Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. We move to Jessica Andrade versus Lupita Godinez. Round 1 and 2 pretty easily to Lupi Godinez. She was just boxing the shit out of Jessica Andrade. Round 3, Jessica did a lot of her nasty work in round 3. Again, a fight where Lupita kind of slows down in the later round. Kind of gets beat up. She needs to work on her cardio a little bit. That is something that does need to improve. Round 1 and 2, she looked really sharp. Really good boxing, really good takedowns as well. Really sharp just boxing in general. She was boxing the fucking head off of Jessica. There was a clear speed advantage very early on for Lupita Godinez. Jessica loses again. Shocker. Who would have guessed? When was her last win? Was it fucking... Who was it? Dern? Oh, it was fucking Rodriguez at 300. Yeah, before that it was Dern. Yeah. I forgot this fight even happened. That's 3 in a row for Jessica. What are you gonna do? Lupita is in the top 6 now at women's strawweight. You could probably do her versus... Fuck. That's not what I meant to click. You could probably do her versus fucking... Who even gives a fuck at this point? You do her versus fucking Yan Jianan. That's a decent matchup. We move to Chase Hooper versus Alexander Hernandez. The Gooner lost, guys. It was a pretty competitive fight. The striking was pretty competitive. It looked like Alexander was just, for a lot of the fight, it looked like he was just inches away from absolutely chinning the shit out of Chase Hooper. And he eventually found it with a counter straight right hand. Chase Hooper, he needs to get better at implementing his takedowns off of his striking. Because his takedowns in this fight did look really bad. To be fair, Alexander got a buzzer beater KO. What are you going to do about it? Looked really solid. That's 3 in a row now for Alexander Hernandez. It's a pretty solid win streak for the 50-50 guy in the Great Ape. Yeah, Chase Hooper, get back to the grindstone. Just get back to it. I thought the stoppage was a little bit, or like the littlest bit early. If he would have stopped it a little bit sooner, I wouldn't have been as mad. But Jason Herzog stopped it right as Chase Hooper started to roll to his back. You know what I mean? Like, stopped it right as the guy started to do something. It reminds me of the Teixeira versus Lewis one. Anyway, where he stops it right, but then he allows fucking Stephen Wynn to fucking put a knockdown record on Mohamed Yatt. Dude, Jason Herzog is one of the most he's one of the weirdest fucking refs in MMA. It doesn't make any sense. Great win for Alexander Hernandez. Don't let that take away from his performance. He caught Chase Hooper with the punch, and put him away from it. Great setup as well. He kind of timed it when Chase Hooper started to advance in with his long, very long boxing. Clipped him hard as shit. Great win for Alexander Hernandez. Instead of tough bums, he started to beat Chase Hooper. So, good one. We move to Edson Barboza versus Drakkar Klose. This was kind of sad, I'll be honest with you. This was pretty unfortunate to watch. I gave this based on rounds 1 and 2 to Drakkar Klose. Even round 3, I thought you could lean to Drakkar, honestly. Drakkar was just very clearly landing the better shots out of him and Edson, in my opinion. Round 2, he basically almost finished him. Round 1, I thought he landed some really good shots as well. Landed a lot of good clinch strikes as well. Yeah, like, Edson just didn't do a whole lot in this fight. What is up with Edson's eye? Well, we're going to talk about that. A little Bilal Muhammad-esque here from good old Edson. Drakkar, he just, the tail of his story, the tail of the tape is just he did more. And he landed harder than Edson. That is really it at the end of the day, is he just landed harder. So, good one for Drakkar Klose. I can understand maybe edging it to 6'7", edging it to Edson Barboza. But Drakkar Klose, I give it to him. We move to Karine Silva versus Deone Barboza. You would think this is the worst robbery in UFC history if you just blindly followed whatever the UFC broadcast told you. Round 1, clear Deone Barboza. Round 2 and 3, I thought were very clearly Karine Silva rounds. Very clearly Karine Silva rounds. She almost finished the fight in round 3. In round 2, she just did more. That's it. She did more. In a round where there's not a ton of damage, not a ton from either side, Karine Silva did more, and I thought she even did more damage in round 2. Not a robbery at all. Very clear decision to Karine Silva, in my opinion. So, Deone clearly won round 1. It's the tail of Deone Barboza. She does well early, gasses out pretty quick, slows down pretty quick, and then she gets controlled and does absolutely fucking nothing with it. Who's fucking shocked? Karine Silva, still a weird performance. Need to see her get back to her traditional stuff. But yeah, it is what it is. Karine Silva, another fighting nerd that won on this card. They went 3 for 3 on this card. So it's tough. It's tough. It is what it is. We move to the start of the entire card, the Tough season 33 flyweight finale, Ali B. Idris versus Joseph Morales. Joseph looked really good. Joseph looked really fucking good in this fight, man. Round 1, Alibi was trying to pressure really well. He got taken down a couple times. I even think that round 1 could have gone to Joseph Morales based off the submission attempts that were really, really deep. Round 2, he just kind of, I don't want to, like, he mogged Alibi Idris a little bit in this fight. Like, he just kind of mogged him. Like, I hate saying that word, but, like, dude, that's what happened in this fight. Round 2, Alibi just kind of, apparently the guy with the best cardio on the show got out-cardioed by the guy with, on the show, one of the weirdest cardios we've seen. Joseph looked really good, though. Round 2 pressured really well. Kind of forced Alibi Idris into uncomfortable positions. And then found a sub. So, you know, it is, I think, what was it that he submitted? Was it a triangle? Is that what it was? I think it was a triangle. But yeah, great win. Great win for Joseph Morales. Definitely got to keep your eye on if you're interested in somewhat older flyweight prospects. UFC 319 was pretty solid, I'd say. The main event obviously did not live up to the immense hype that I think a lot of people gave it. But it was one of the most dominant performances I think I've seen in my entire life. So there is that. 2 spinning back fist KOs in a row. What the fuck? What are we doing? Tim Elliott still winning. Yeah, by Singer Suzukayev. I think it's a pretty good pay-per-view. Pretty good pay-per-view. This weekend we have UFC Shanghai. Walker versus Zhang. I will get those picks and breakdowns out for you guys on Wednesday, obviously. I am back. I will try and upload a bit more, you know, just for you. Just for you special little guys. If you like the video, give it a like. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe. Leave a comment down below what you guys would like to see next. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.